again?
We do a cold start here.
You do?
It's never a formal.
It's never like, hey, this is the introduction. You guys ever see B is for Build?
No.
His YouTube channel?
Who is that?
Just, you gotta go see it. This guy who, he'll just build these cars. He'll buy junked cars, or cars that will, like, off Copart, and he'll go and fix them. But he's got, like, a crazy following on YouTube. And he's got his own, like,
How long are these videos?
20 minutes.
Are they?
Yeah.
A whole car build?
No, I'm talking about it's a series, bud. Like, yeah.
I don't have all day to watch it. Like, I want to see the cliff notes.
He's got to play PUBG,
well, you can
man.
Go do that.
You
No, I deleted PUBG
You gotta
until I
go
get
play
the powder
PUBG?
coat business running. I deleted
You have to be a dad?
Preece is always on there, but he never lets me join. It's just him and Doug Campbell playing together, and they don't ever let me join their squad. So I'm trying to get in the same one to shoot you.
What is your name on there?
Our Flow.
Yeah, that's not you. I have so I got some random guy on there on my friends, and I can't figure out who it is. I'm like, how did you end up on here?
Is it
like
Our Flow?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it might
What's your
be.
name
It
on
could
there?
be.
R. Preece.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
it's got a picture of you in Stafford.
No,
Yeah.
no, not that
That's
one.
his profile picture? Is him?
I won.
No, it connects to your Facebook, so
Yeah.
like there you go.
I
That's
look
the only
like
reason I have a Facebook too.
So
To
that's
play
good.
PUBG?
That's the
Pretty
good
much.
thing. That's the good thing for me is because you see this family man with his wife, but I'm a straight murderer on there.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be up against.
You're like
it.
a double O agent?
Yep.
You got to
pretty
cross life.
Pretty much 007 on there.
Well, anyway, we got Ryan Preece on.
Learn
Cup
something
driver.
new.
That was a good intro. That was good.
That was a great
That
one.
was a good cold
pretty
start.
good. Talking about PUBG on a racing podcast.
But all the spotters play PUBG. That's how you got in, I'm sure, from Doug.
That's very true. That's
Who's
very
your
true.
spotter? Stevie Reeves?
Yep,
He's probably got more wins than you do.
probably.
You know Stevie Reeves?
Yes, I do.
Bad son of a gun.
Yeah.
It was funny actually when he was at the Chili Bowl. They were playing because I bought the broadcast, and they played like I think it was 1992 or something like that. And he's ripping the lip, like in second. I don't think he didn't win that race. I think he finished second. But I texted him, I'm like, dude, you're on here right now. You were ripping it, and he's like, yeah, of course I was.
Good. He drove that damn 9 car.
Yep.
I
Billy-
miss
yeah, or Bobby East.
USAC asphalt racing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because Santos up there, how good is he?
Really good. I was just actually, so that was the reason I was kind of following the Silver Crown race this weekend. I think it was in Memphis, right?
Yeah.
So I went back and I looked at some YouTube videos yesterday of some on cars just because they're so cool. Like I've never gotten to drive a Silver Crown or asphalt sprint car, but like that stuff's awesome.
You ever seen
know
a
what I mean?
Silver Crown car in person?
Absolutely.
They're like the size of a modified. They're humongous.
They're huge. The fuel tanks on them are unreal. I remember I went to the last Nazareth race when they were there with IRL when Tyler Walker won that race when he was driving for Casey Kane. And I'll never forget, like, I was probably, I don't know, what was that, 02 or something like that, but I was probably 11, 12, or I was just in love with those race cars. Like, that's the route I wanted to go when I was growing up, and, you know, we're from the Northeast, so modifieds are like the thing there, and that's where I ended up. But I love those cars. They're awesome.
Midgets we have around there, like the Nema midgets
Yeah,
with
with
the
wings.
Wing on 'em.
Yep.
Oh, they're still cool.
I wouldn't know.
He's a dirt late model
Yeah.
guy.
I went
Yeah.
back and listened to our old podcast with Ryan, and it was just you guys talking about Northern racing and all these people I didn't know. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, wow, I didn't have anything to input in this at all.
You had nothing to go for
The
that
same
conversation.
thing happened to me last week with you and Stremmy.
Yeah.
You been to Fairbury? No. You been to this place in the Midwest? This random shithole dirt track in the Midwest? No.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Modifieds,
Yeah.
modifieds have a fixed front end, right? What? No. Stop. Stop talking.
Oh, man.
I'd say it's the same thing this week. So
Yeah.
go ahead. That's
We're
why
back
you guys,
to our modifieds.
That's
But you
why
know
you guys
Jimmy.
are on the couch. I know Jimmy. I don't know.
You know
what.
Bonsignor?
He's
Doesn't Bonsignor come? No, he doesn't come to you
Bonsignor
for helmets,
helmet.
right?
Yeah, he's Team
You
Off
d-
Axis.
Oh, he is now?
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
there
yeah.
you go. You got Blewett. You got Bonsignor. You don't have Kobe.
I paint for all these guys, but
Yeah.
I don't know their backgrounds
Matt
or
Swanson?
where they
You got
grew up.
Matt
Yeah,
Swanson?
Look at
I have plenty of guys. It's
what
not,
kind of a
that's
guy
not
who owns
the
a company
problem.
doesn't know his customers?
I
Like,
don't
what's
go
going
up-
on with that?
I go to Atlantic City once a year, and that's the closest thing I get to
Mhm.
that type of racing and those type of people. And there's a lot of gold chains flying around up there around your necks.
Greg's the only person that goes to Atlantic City to sleep. He
Oh.
actually sleeps there because
Atlantic
it's such a
City's
busy
my-
time of year.
My favorite vacation of the year because, yeah, I just go up there. It's like in January, so it's right between our rush, and I just go there for 2 days and sleep in the hotel, and then I stagger out at 4 p.m. They're like, oh, man, you must have had a hard night gambling and drinking last night. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I just went to bed. Just
I've
slept.
got
You're like the only guy that probably actually goes to bed at like 10 o'clock,
slept
where
for
everyone else is
14
out till
hours,
4.
and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I've got interesting news for Atlantic City this year coming up.
Oh, you can't
What's that?
can't announce it yet?
Yeah, no, it's great. They moved it back a week to January 31st, February 1st.
Oh,
is
it's
the
perfect
weekend of
for
it.
me.
Derek Santiago, my brother-in-law, gets married January 31st
Oh,
in Dallas, Texas.
So you need me to practice
So
the car.
I have to go there to Dallas, do the wedding because I'm in it. Fly out at 6 a.m. Saturday morning, no practice anything, and start cold.
I'll practice the car for you.
Who would you have practice
problem.
it?
I'm sitting right here.
You ain't.
I'm gonna
You're
race
a cup
next
guy
year.
now.
If they prep that racetrack like they did for Syracuse, I will race Atlantic City, because Atlantic City, to me, I remember when I used to go watch, and then the years I started going, man, they're just so locked down. It's so hard to pass. Where it looked at Syracuse with the no prep and the way they prepped the track, cars were sliding, people were making mistakes. It's easier to set people up, and you actually had to build the grip into the car and not into the tire and or not into the track. I'm sorry, So if they do it how they did at Syracuse, when I went back and watched, I'll go and race that again.
But you're a cup driver. You're probably contractually not obligated.
All I need to do is get approval, and Tad and Jody are great when it comes to, hey, just don't get hurt. So we'll
Don't
see.
get hurt.
I'll approach them to
Famous
that after
last
this.
words. You don't have a good history there on Friday night, so I definitely wouldn't let him practice your car.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Not
watched
at
that
all.
practice wreck one time. I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
Come on now, let's not talk about that here.
Golly.
If you
That
don't know
was
what
rough.
Atlantic City is, it's kind of like the Chili Bowl of the Northeast, I guess.
But it's not dirt.
It's not dirt. It's
Yeah.
on a hockey rink, concrete. Go look it up. It's pretty sick. I'm a dirt guy, but I love that race.
It's the atmosphere, man. It's so much
cool.
fun.
It is, man.
Yeah.
It's just a fun race, and like there's no other racing going on in the country.
Yep.
It's just good time.
The good thing about the indoor racing is at that dirt race, Lucas Wolf was my teammate, and he had never done an indoor race before. And I said to him, the cool thing about this is you race when you race in a series, you're pretty much around the same 100 people all year,
Yeah.
and then you go there and you're around everybody,
Yep.
sprint car guys, dirt modified guys, asphalt modified guys, midget guys. Everybody's there together, so that's the cool part.
Well, that was like Providence. I'm going back for the past 6 or 7 years. Mike Stefanik won.
Yep.
Stuart Friesen won one year,
Yeah.
right? Teddy Christopher won. Like, there's a bunch of different guys. There's been TQ guys. And then you got just Ryan Flores.
Yeah.
He's his own little brand himself.
Hall of Famer.
But you
tire
have-
changer.
You have guys that come from all different etiquettes of driving, and they come in, they race against each other, and there's different winners
That's
from
what I'm saying.
different backgrounds.
It's like the Chili Bowl.
It
It's
is.
the Chili Bowl of
It
the
is.
Northeast because you
Yep,
just got
so it's pretty cool.
it's got all
It's
kinds
like
of
when Tim
drivers.
McCready won the Chili Bowl, and was he like one of the first dirt late model guys to win that deal?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can win it.
yeah.
You can wheel it.
Nowadays that Chili Bowl is. I mean, anything is down to like. Even if there's 300 guys there, there's 5 guys there. Or hell, the Chili Bowl, it's like there's
Yeah.
3.
Mm-hmm.
They're all pretty much Keith Coon's cars anymore. It's crazy,
Yeah.
but it's
Those things are nasty to watch, man. The way they just got so much forward drive built into those cars. Like, it's just crazy.
Those cars do stuff on camera that is like when
Unreal.
Logan TV drove up the fence at whatever
Oh, the
in
wall- the
Pennsylvania.
wall
there,
ride.
drove up the fence, the catch
Yeah.
fence, and came off. It's just so cool. But
Anyway,
Yep.
we're doing this a day late, which is good, because they announced a big announcement yesterday of this giant schedule change, and I don't get to talk about it too much. I'm not gonna bash it at all because
I think it's great.
we
I
needed to
think
have
it's
a
awesome.
we needed to have a shakeup.
It's
First
not that huge of a change. We're all
Yeah,
going
it's
to
not-
mostly the same tracks.
It's not giant.
Well, but the way they place them is really cool. So, first
agree.
off, I'm pumped because it's New Hampshire and 2 weeks off. So, not only am I going up
Save
a week
money on
early,
flight.
I'm saving money on everything. So, after, depending on schedules, so if there's any modified people paying attention right now that promote tracks or promote series,
they all listen.
let's
to this.
try and make this. Yeah, we're going to make them listen to this.
Yeah.
Let's try and make this work out so I can come to some of these races because that would be fantastic. But if you look at the first round of the playoffs, a lot of them are short tracks, right?
A lot.
Yeah,
so,
Richmond,
a lot of
Bristol.
them are.
Richmond, Bristol, and
And
then what was the
Martinsville
third
or
one?
Well, it's
something.
Darlington, Richmond, Bristol.
Darlington.
So
yeah.
they're all very
But
challenging
that's-
tracks for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And
And then it's Vegas, Talladega, Roval,
yep, which
Kansas,
the Roval.
Texas,
There you go.
Martinsville.
That was the
so-
only thing I didn't like about it, but I didn't know why they put pretty challenging tracks at the beginning.
It's great.
That's great, but
this chase is challenging as hell. The whole
why
time.
wouldn't you spread those out a little bit? Or
Why would you?
I don't know.
These guys are getting rich. These guys are rich. They're getting paid a lot of money to do this. Figure
These
it out.
guys-
It's
he
the same
looked
for
right at
everybody.
You know, every time he calls me a cup driver, look at you. You picked up for me. Like
Yeah.
what?
He's famous now.
He
He
loves
is.
that. I want to.
the-
You know.
The thing that I keep hearing that I don't that I understand. So as competitors, you're locked in and you see it your way, and you've seen that's kind of that can be a problem if the prisoners can't run the prison, right?
That's
But
right.
the first thing that everybody keeps saying is Daytona as a cutoff race is just crazy. Well, it's going to be great for the fans,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and for all of us, it's the same for everybody.
Great
So you have to go
stories,
there and
too.
execute.
We're all in the same box. We all have the same set of rules. So that's what it comes down to. And like like you were just saying, when it comes to some of these things, like whether you're racing modifieds, midgets, usually the people who are talking about things, they're usually saying the way they think for their benefit, right? Where you and I, when we talk about things, it's usually for the betterment of racing in
course,
general.
yeah.
So, but I agree with you 100% on
Yeah.
a lot of that. So.
Well, there's a lot on the line at Daytona, right? Which if you race Daytona in July, if you
Mhm.
win Daytona in July or you win Daytona in August as the last cutoff race, you get the same thing.
Yeah.
So the guys that go to Daytona with a chance to make it in are going to go to any track. It's just maybe they're a little more comfortable going to somebody else.
Well, I
somewhere
think
else.
what's crazy about it too, if you think about it, is so Daytona, it's the last cutoff race. Lot can happen. You can get wrecked. It can wreck you out, or that underdog, that one guy that's running 20 whatever in points, or
yeah.
he could win,
Oh yeah.
and then he could bump someone out. So there's just a lot of crazy things that could happen with that.
You're gonna have a lot of crying from those guys that get bumped out. But listen,
Look,
there's plenty of races before you even get to Daytona to lock yourself in. If you haven't done it by then, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
That's the way I see
and
it.
everybody starts Daytona with the same. I mean, you go there and unload your car with the same opportunity as everybody else.
Yeah.
So, and then you look at, Darlington, Richmond, Bristol. I think that's what Bristol's missing right now is that it's a high stakes race
Mm-hmm.
because you can go to Bristol and survive. You see a
Yeah.
lot of people not. The reason that Bristol was what it was for so long is because the intensity and how exciting it was, and now it's like kind of you're the one race in the beginning of the year and the next race is towards the end of the season, but they don't really mean too much to the full season.
I wanna
Now it's
go
going to make a big difference.
Mhm.
I want to
And
go
you'll
to
see people
Bristol Night
moving people
Race
away.
and see some helmets thrown again.
And that's what this
Bottom
will do.
line.
Well, it's putting you in a situation to where it makes you have to race like that, right?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, there's a
So-
lot on the line.
But I want to talk about Martinsville being under the lights.
It's gonna be
That's going to
badass.
be awesome. You know what I mean? And I see Doug Kobe's been on Twitter pretty
Has
heavily
he
the
been? I haven't
past
seen it.
past few days. So he's been really
He's
pushing.
got Twitter fingers now.
I just texted him about that yesterday. I was like, man, you let those fingers touch every key on the keyboard, don't you?
Gosh.
But so there was where he was talking about Martinsville. He was talking about Richmond. That would be a great, supporting series race. I think that would bring kind of a different crowd to the race that would get people to stay for the Cup cars too. So or the Xfinity races or something like that. So
I'll tell
maybe
you,
that can happen.
one thing that getting off topic here,
No, why? Why? Come on.
because talking about modifieds.
Yeah.
One thing I hate about the
We're just
modified
gonna
garage.
isolate
One
Greg
thing
over
I-
there.
and you
I'm
can
gonna
say
take
this.
a bathroom break.
One thing I hate
I'll be
about
back.
modified stuff is the way that they perceive the Cup garage, and I think that
What do you mean?
I think that they feel like there's a big divide there. A lot of people do,
Mm-hmm.
and Cup guys do this or like, but I think that's one thing that NASCAR as a whole could do a better job of intertwining all their series together, and getting the modifieds not just New Hampshire, but at
Yeah.
more tracks, and
And I
kind of
think that's a
bridging that
process,
gap.
though, right
I
now.
agree.
And from what I've seen, I think that's something that's in the works right now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about everything that it's more than just bringing people to a racetrack, right? It's
yeah.
it's making them feel a part of the show,
I
right?
want to come back.
And I feel like that's something that hopefully I feel is in the works right now, which will be great because these guys, they might not have had the opportunities to get to this level, but they're not any slouches. You know
No,
that.
everybody
You
knows
go
who they
race
are.
against them. Yeah, so it's I think unifying everyone together is definitely in the process. So we'll see.
But you give a guy like Doug Kobe or like a Justin. I don't know about Justin.
It's gonna be the
But you give-
modified off
Yeah.
axis
You give- but you
podcast
give-
right now.
Or you give
I'll be over here.
Jonathan Davenport or
If you
somebody
need
like
me,
that.
I'll be over
Yeah.
here.
You give
Yeah.
Jonathan Davenport or one of your buddies the same opportunities that you've strived for.
Yeah.
They might be able to do the same thing. Now, granted,
Yep.
I don't know that they will, but they have talent, and
Mhm.
you've had to line up against those guys, and we see those guys. But if we can give them more stages and more opportunities to be noticed, like you were given,
Mm-hmm.
I think that the cream would rise to the top more, because it is to win an Xfinity race like you did. Even though you're in
Oh,
a
yeah.
Gibbs car or whatever,
Yeah.
it's a lot of execution.
Yeah.
It's people don't understand how hard it is to get on and off pit road.
Yep.
To go through the gearboxes on restarts. To execute at that high of a level.
It's funny that you say that because I didn't even think about all those different things, about all the different scenarios that could have gone wrong during that race. If I sped on pit road,
Done.
we would have been done.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that I didn't even think about going
You
into
slide
it
through
that
your
I
pit
just
box.
yeah, yep.
There's a lot of different situations in a race where you have the opportunity to.
There's a lot to
lose
give a
the
race away.
Correct.
Absolutely. And I didn't even think of, and I think a lot of guys don't think about that part too. They just think about the on-track part. That's almost one of the easier parts of it. You know what I mean?
Especially when you have a good car.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
But that's
So,
where I feel like we could do better as a sport, giving talented people that maybe don't have the means to go buy a ride more opportunity to be on a big stage to get their name out there, because it's challenging to do that. And you know you've been through it.
Mhm.
And you look at guys like, dirt guys, dirt late
My
model guys
buddies.
that come through. Yeah,
Me and my buddy
whoever the hell
Jonathan
your friends
Davenport.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talk all the
are.
time.
Is he not your friend?
I've never talked to Jonathan Davenport.
What about
a day in
Chris
my life.
Ferguson? I talked to him today.
Yeah, he's my I
He
know
won
him.
10 grand this weekend. No big deal.
We're at not Cherokee.
Not Cherokee. He lost there. It was another track. He told me. I don't know. There's like
There was
so
a
many
gap. There
tracks.
was is Cherokee Gaffney.
Yeah, it's the same track.
Is that
Oh,
it?
okay.
Okay.
Whoops.
Yeah.
No, that wait. So that he was at some other track, and I don't know. There's a bunch of them down there.
Scared.
No, he ran there too. He just didn't win.
It was a day race, rubbered down. I don't know why you race dirt in the day. It's not meant to be raced during the day.
Is it not?
No.
It
You get-
doesn't seem the same,
It
right?
just takes rubber. It's super dusty, dries out.
Yeah.
It's not a good race.
That's what happens to
Ever.
Oswego up there
Ever.
when they run. Super Dirt
Oh
Week.
yeah. Yep. And potholes or not potholes,
Well,
whatever
they
you want to
fixed
call
that.
them.
They fixed that this
Uh-oh.
past year. That's one thing. You're getting phone calls here. You're pretty.
That's
it's
fine,
So
don't
important.
worry.
Put it on airplane mode, man.
He canceled the call like a normal cup driver right there.
Who is it? Who is it from?
My
Doug-
buddy.
Doug Campbell.
Oh,
Yep.
Doug Campbell.
Yeah.
He's not even your spotter anymore.
Well, actually, I have a bet going with him. That's where I got to go after this. Is I have a $100 race with him.
Where?
GoPro.
Oh.
Yep.
Tell him he's probably gonna lose. He's not gonna have me pushing him to the finish there, because I
Yeah.
pushed him.
Who weighs more?
I pushed him in that spotter race all the way to the front, and he lost it. I'm like, how?
Who beat you? Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman beat us.
Coleman's a stud.
I'm like, dude, you had this one. I was pushing you the whole way.
Oh, he probably tried to punt him,
We
or
were-
he just missed the corner.
We were
Did
go-
he miss
no,
it?
yeah, I
Oh,
was
yeah, that's
locked
about
onto
right.
his bumper. We were going to the front. I said,
Yep.
like, if we can stay together, these guys aren't gonna catch us. And he just blew it. I'm like, there's a reason you're a spotter and not a driver. Oh my gosh.
Here's the good thing
That
you got
sounds
going
about
for
right.
you today in that race at GoPro. Now that you're a cup driver and you're on a diet program and you're on a workout program, you've lost a lot of weight, and you're a lot skinnier than Doug Campbell is.
He's
being that
killing
he's
it.
just on a spotter
Oh,
program.
boy.
So you should beat him on weight. How much less? do you
Doesn't
weigh than
matter,
him?
man. That forward momentum of his weight when
No.
he punts me going into the backstretch corner. That's
He's
the
not
thing
even
I'm
gonna be
worried
close.
about.
Catch you.
He's not
Oh
gonna be
yeah, he
close.
will. He's fast for a big boy.
He
is
honestly
pretty
is.
fast.
He
How
is
much
pretty
weight have
fast
you
out
lost
there.
since you moved here?
20 pounds.
Really?
Look
You
at that.
feel good?
Yeah, I feel better.
Do
He's
ya?
talking so much crap right now.
No, I'm serious.
No,
He
no,
looked
not you.
good.
I'm talking about Doug.
Oh,
I'm
he's-
trying. Yeah, I'm working on it. I don't eat out anymore.
That
At all.
So-
podcast I listened to last time, you were literally eating chicken fingers.
Oh yeah,
Right
I lived
before-
off Cookout, man.
Yeah.
So when was this podcast? I can't even
A
remember.
little over a year ago, probably.
It was
Alright.
last year before we went to
Atlantic City.
indoors.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I moved down here at the end of August, and there was a time before Heather moved down
Would you
here.
buy like a 50-acre farm or something? for
Yeah,
that
man,
money?
all of that. Absolutely. So
Multi-million-dollar
I
contract.
actually lived in a little apartment right up the road behind Kickback Jacks.
Most
Yeah.
people move into small apartments while their mansions are getting built.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
You gotta live
Yep.
somewhere.
You
You
got
can't live in
it.
your
See?
van.
Yep. Okay.
You gotta live in somewhere
Cool.
with a pool.
Great story.
Days,
Okay.
Days off.
Getting back on track. I don't think I ever cooked a meal when I was here.
Yeah,
Ever. Until when we actually bought our house. That's not a mansion.
yeah.
That's on less than an acre.
Okay.
Okay. And I lived, like, I remember I ate out every night, grabbed fast food for lunch, like, never went to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, barely.
Convenient.
So, as soon as we moved down and Heather was down here, I was like, all right, I got to take this serious. So it was like in a month and a half, you lose 20 pounds. Granted, a lot of help from the trainer and the diet, like that's everything.
So what are
but
you
you
doing,
feel way
cooking
better.
yourself now?
Heather's cooking.
You a meal prepper?
No, actually. So have you ever heard of what is it, fasting?
Yeah, intermittent fasting.
It's great, but that's like the modern day. I feel like you starve yourself, right?
Well, it's you only eat for like 8 hours a day, and then
Correct,
you're off
yeah.
for whatever the rest of the day is. So you
What's
can't-
24 minus 8?
I can't do that.
16. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're off for 16. There's a lot of people that do it. I've
Yeah.
done it, but I don't have enough energy to at pit practice in the morning and try to time it right.
You're
Yep.
a dad now. You don't have time for that.
Well, and it hurts the dad bod.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So lake season's
Yeah.
coming up. I
What
want
you
dad
have
bod.
lost, Ryan has gained a dad bod, so
Yeah.
it's fine. Yeah, it's working
good.
itself out.
It's all right.
He's
Come
an
indoors
athlete.
though, you'll probably fast
He's
and
an
you'll cut it
athlete.
right out like a wrestler
Not
does.
Andy J. I'm not Andy J.
No, you're not Andy J.
No, I just-
He's an animal,
it
man.
just-
I love him. He is awesome. Did you see at New Smyrna? I think he had a tuxedo fire suit, right?
I told him at Turkey Derby he had that thing on. I said, if you wear that at Atlantic City, I'm spinning you out because I won't be able to take it getting past that guy with the bow tie. And he didn't. He wore his old 3-ring Simpson.
Yep.
He's cool. I like Andy a lot. He gets a lot of.
I respect him a lot
I
for what
respect
he
him a lot, too.
does. Yep.
He gets a lot of slack because he's a freaking weirdo. But he's a good guy. He is.
He's
I told
awesome,
him that.
man. I'll never forget when he rolled into Star Speedway. I guess their truck broke down. They got there late. He had his pajamas on,
Yeah.
but he was ready to go.
Socks and flip-flops.
Socks and flip-flops.
I told him he came to Hickory like that. I said,
And
buy
he
some
won.
freaking pants. Yeah.
And he won that race.
He beat Lightning McQueen.
Yep. Hey, man, personality. That's what we need, and he's got plenty of it,
I like
so
him.
it's
He's
cool.
a racer.
Plenty.
Mhm. Oh, you got notes?
Yeah, well, I was talking about the schedule change, and then you guys just hijacked the whole thing. So
We had to get modified.
Go back to
somewhere.
that. I got one more
I'm
thing to add to
going
that.
back, please. We just moved
Mm-hmm.
Homestead, Miami to Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, you didn't actually move the racetrack to Phoenix.
You
just
could,
moved
though.
the event.
Yeah, but I agree with it. I think it's a cool track to end the series in.
Have
Chris-
you been to
Chris
Phoenix
Bell
since it
likes
got
it.
redone?
No, I haven't been there.
It's badass.
Yeah,
That
What, Phoenix?
Y'all
Yeah, it
got
is really cool.
That's
the
what I was
atmosphere
saying.
there,
Mhm.
that's a good place.
They've
to end the
spent
year.
plenty of money on the place, and they've proved they can make good racing with the dog league on the front.
Oh,
straightaway
yeah.
now. So
Yep.
it's cool. I
Imagine a
like
green-white checkered there for the end of the
for
year
the championship.
battle.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Be good. It'd be
Who
good.
wants to be the guy that's 4 or 3 wide with the other guys that are in that deal?
That'd be cool. I'm all about it.
Ooh.
I'm excited to go to Homestead in March, though. It'll be nice down there. It'll be warmer than going to Martinsville in March.
Ooh, yeah.
At least
Agreed.
we won't get snowed on.
Agreed with that.
Hopefully. But then, yeah, look at that. Going back to that Martinsville race, one thing that LaJoy brought up yesterday when we were talking about this, he said the only thing that, and it's from a driver's standpoint, he said the only thing that makes me not like that it's at night is that I feel like in the sun the track progression taking
Well, it
rubber, getting
changes.
slick.
Well,
He
it's
said
still
at
going to
night-
take rubber. No, it will still take rubber. The only difference, so the reason that there's such a change from when we start the race to the end is obviously because it's hotter and it starts to cool off. You're still going to get rubber buildup. It's still going to happen.
It's just gonna look so much cooler under the lights.
Yep.
And that's what I mean.
But
at the end of the day,
It's going to be way cooler. But even as it cooled off there, like it was 5 o'clock when we were ending the race, it was still taking rubber and we were still fighting the same issues we were fighting. Are you going to be sliding around nearly as much? I felt like probably not as much, but you're still going to be searching for grip. Rubber buildup's still going to be the issue because the tires, when you get, if you get on that rubber, it just slides. So you're still going to have to look for clean asphalt.
now in a modified, the difference. So the Cup cars have a radial tire and the modifieds have a bias ply.
yeah.
Hoosier. You ran Martinsville in both.
Yep.
When you get in the rubber with the bias ply modified tire, does it have more grip or do you try to stay out of it as well?
No, you got to stay out of it. It was the same thing. So same thing. So as soon as I was getting in it, I was like, man, it clicked. I was like, okay, I need to avoid this. Whether it's straddling, putting it in the middle of the car, whether it's going above it, one or the other. All I knew is that if I put my right front in it, it was gonna get tight. You know what I mean? Where with the modifieds, it's a little different. We don't get tight. We'll just the back will just slide out. So the cars react different. But it was still the same thing. You need to look for different areas to make to maximize everything you have with your car.
Did you win Martinsville modified?
I did.
You did.
Kind of ish.
Did you win a clock?
What happened?
No, we won it. We won it. Well, I won for the North. It was
How did you kind of win?
Well, we won because Burt Myers technically passed me with 10 to go, but he had an overdrive transmission and got it disqualified.
So he got disqualified.
He did.
So you won.
You were the
I won,
eventual
but it's
winner.
still kind of like I have a clock. Yes. Did I win? Yes. But did I cross the line first? It kind of takes away from that a little bit.
You got a
So,
clock.
Jimmy's
I
the
have a
same
clock.
way.
You won.
Yeah.
Jimmy's wins the same way. He won under rain delay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
but he was like
that's
the
good.
last car to cross the line first. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no.
in the record books, it's like, yeah, but I still, when I talk about winning at Martinsville, it's like, it's kind of.
Just show them the clock.
So-
That's
Yeah.
it. That's all you got to do. Just show
Yeah.
them the clock.
So
Sure.
is there anything that you can take away from your Martinsville experience in modified and correlate to your cup race that you just ran there? Your first competitive. That was your first competitive. That wasn't your first cup race in Martinsville, but it was your first competitive cup race in Martinsville,
Yeah.
right? So is there anything that you could take away from your modified start at the same track and help you with your cup stuff, or is it
Yeah,
too
that
far
was the
gone?
rubber. I mean, the rubber, it's all the same. At the end of the day, you're heavy braking. You know, you're wanting to get the car to rotate. You want to be able to do things. You want to be on the throttle as quick as you can, which Penske cars, you know, look like they're really good on the throttle. They cut really good. You know, you just got to work on things like that. Typical things that we learn growing up, you know, through the ranks. So, I wish we still had testing, or at least rookie testing, because, you know, I feel like the rules, the way they've been written, they benefit somebody that went through the system, how you would traditionally go through that. But I think the traditional way of going through the system is kind of not happening anymore. It's not happening anymore.
It's not.
So you see a lot of
gone.
guys like me, Corey. We didn't really kind of go through the NASCAR system. You know what I mean?
You didn't have the money to, because now it's a money game.
So realistically, it's hard. You know, I feel like it's not even about going to the racetracks. It's about learning the cars, learning the way they work and how they react and all these different things that when we go to the racetrack, how much time do we really have to work on them? You need to unload off the truck really well, because if you don't, you're chasing your tail, you're trying to get it better. And who's to say, like, for example, like us at Martinsville, we unloaded and we needed to work on it. Well, by the end of the race, I felt like we got it really good baseline for where we need to go to the next race. But that didn't help us for this race. You know what I mean? Where everyone else is kind of in the same boat. So that's changing the subject on you guys.
We're
but
done
talking
about
about
that.
testing.
We're done.
I wish we, you know, rookies or, you know, give a organizational test where your team gets to pick, hey, you get 2 a year or 3 a year, not per driver, but per organization, that you get to choose where you can use them at 2 day, you know, 3 different times. So
That would be great. Crew chiefs will screw it up because they find some loophole around it or some way to mess it up for everybody.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, in a perfect world for somebody like me, I wish we had that.
Yeah.
You know,
I
so.
agree.
But that's everyone's job, is to find something that benefits
It's
them.
funny.
So I get it.
We have
but-
Steven here 2 weeks ago, and he says, no practice. Get out there and qualify.
Well, that works. That works fine too for the teams that have really good simulation that backs up everything, that when they unload off the truck that they're P1
They're
and they don't
pretty
have to work
close.
on their cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I agree with that as a driver if we were all equal when we
Yeah.
unloaded off the truck, and then we have to make our cars better throughout the race instead of having those 3 practices or whatever to make them better. But that's not necessarily the case, and sometimes it's difficult to do
Do you
that.
think once you have that much practice as a Cup driver, do you think those good teams are even farther ahead of you because they learn stuff so much quicker during practice? Or do you think you catch up
I don't,
a lot more?
No, it's tough to say. I feel like we're pretty good right away, but there's just, you know, there's always going to be things where that I don't know. It's going to take time. I'm a rookie, so, like, there's a lot of things I'm learning as we're going.
Yeah.
Right? And I have nowhere near the amount of laps that a lot of these guys do. But I'm working on trying
in this style car.
in this style car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you've done it the right
Well,
you've got a
it
lot of
just
laps.
like so modifieds. Yeah, I have a lot of
He
laps,
didn't
but
start yesterday.
modifieds like we don't
They have
deal
a
with
locked
bump
rear end.
stops. Yeah, we have spools. Like we have stagger. Where
Well,
you guys,
you might have to deal. You used to deal with bump stops.
Huh?
Those guys back in the day used to deal. Didn't they have bump stops on them things for a while? At New Smyrna, I mean at New Hampshire and all that, or were they just
coil
binding?
binding. Yeah, well,
You
I mean
could
it's
never
just-
have bump stops.
you could never run bump stops. I mean the Southern modified deal, you could run bump stops. I never ran with that. I've never messed with that. To be honest with you, I hate coil binding and I hate bump stops because it's kind of like it's just taking a variable out of the situation, right? You're taking away over traveling, you're taking away so many different things that under braking the car does, and you're manipulating things. And it's just like left front coil binding. If you aren't right, you're hurting. It's tough to drive. So that's okay. Going back.
Be like Matt
Going
Hirschman
back.
and just run
Going
pro
back to
shocks.
whatever we were talking about 2 seconds
You
ago.
could be like Matt Hirschman and just run 4 pro shocks and beat everybody's ass every week.
Good for him.
He's
Hey
got-
man, you want to
yeah.
know what? There's a million different ways to skin a
There
cat.
is.
So
There is. That's what I try to get across to everybody. Like as far as Matt Hirschman goes, like his dad was maybe one of the best
yeah,
modified racers and mechanics of all time,
Yep.
and they have a great notebook. But
Yep.
you touched on
I touched on something.
No, Ryan.
Oh,
did.
Ryan
Yeah,
did.
I haven't
Okay.
really listened to you much.
Yeah, I
this
haven't
week.
really said
You've been
much.
isolated.
Yeah.
we somehow bring it back to modifieds
I don't know
every
why
time.
every time.
No,
every
so-
time.
This is I feel like, and you'll weigh in on this. So
Probably
we
not,
talked
but
about
go ahead.
you touched on the old way of making it, and that's succeeding at short tracks, getting an opportunity, and then,
Yeah.
and that way seems to be dead for most people.
Not really. I think it's. I'm gonna
What-
cut you off here, but go
what
ahead.
would you do to promote more of that? Well, I've said I've said that I feel like if you're an F1 driver, you have to have won championships and won races before, and I feel like to get to
Yeah, but there's that one guy that didn't, right? Stroll, or not Stroll. I'm sorry. Who's
he
the
might
kid?
have Verstappen.
I don't know
No,
what his
don't-
name is.
Yeah, but
But-
he struggled when he got there. I
Yeah.
know exactly who you're talking about.
No, not Verstappen.
No, it wasn't
he was
Max
good.
Verstappen. I think it was
Whatever.
He's
Yeah, yeah,
Canadian,
yeah.
Canadian kid.
No. He's whatever. We'll
This
just
is why
we'll
we
move
need a
on
fact
this.
checker. In our
Yeah.
We need a
podcast.
fact
No, we
checker.
aren't about
Daryl
facts.
fact check us.
Yeah.
But- What would I do different to help someone? So like
No, to help promote
help.
short track racers getting more opportunities.
Well, I think we have to give opportunities ourselves. So like me, I'm in no position to start a race team right now. Okay, but 2 to 3 years from now, if I'm hopefully successful and still doing this, do I want to start a race team? Do I want to start a modified team? Do I want to start an SK team? Is that something that I'd want to do? Absolutely, because when I was back in 2011 or 12, when I needed my opportunity, I got them from modified owners, okay, and so on. Now, if somebody who was in the Cup Series had a team, okay, that's affiliated with another team, if he gave me an opportunity, could that have maybe helped the process? Yeah, it could have. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing we see with Casey Kane, which he has his drivers. Kyle Larson has his drivers. Could you use it as a system like something like that to give opportunities? Yeah, you could.
investing
Like
back into
Toyota's
the
doing
sport.
with their drivers. That's
Yeah.
how Christopher Bell came through. I see a lot of their drivers, so it's you reinvest in the sport. So that's something that I'd love to do in 2 to 3 years from now. So
What could NASCAR do to weed out? And it's a hard thing because if you look at it as a businessman, what does NASCAR do to make it to where if there's a Ryan Preece or a champion that has come through different ranks of racing, and they have that guy, and then they have a kid who has a couple $1 million sponsor, and that what can NASCAR do to help where you want to pick someone like
pick
you?
somebody over the
pick
kid who's
talent
winning
over money.
races.
What do we do to our system to help that? And
I don't have
that's
the
I
answers.
feel
I
like
mean-
that's the $1 million question because you want to go watch the most talented race car drivers race against each other. You don't want to watch the kids. You don't want to watch the people that have the most amount of money to buy opportunity for themselves.
Correct.
That's what we need to get to be the
Yeah.
premier racing league in racing.
I don't know the answer to that. All I know
There's
is
not an answer to
so
it.
there has to be somewhere.
there
There's
will.
not.
Hey, you want to know what? I mean, if I had all the answers, I'd run everything, but I don't.
Agreed.
I can only do what I feel like is my part, and that's what I plan on hoping.
I'm not
hoping to
asking
do.
you to make an answer.
I know.
I'm just asking
Okay.
what you would do.
All right. Well, what would I do?
He's
I don't
backing you
know.
into a
I've
corner.
never thought about this. I've thought about only the things that I just spoke about, and that's about all
You'll
I
be
can
thinking
do.
about it now.
What? Really?
Yeah, I think you will be.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like it would help this? And I've thought this. Do you feel like it would help the sport if to run to get an Xfinity ride or run at the top 3, you have had to have
Well,
least
you remember-
one.
You remember NASCAR home
such a
tracks?
Yankee.
I'm
You're
gonna.
such a
That's
Yankee.
right.
You
I'm gonna
just
cut
don't
you
let me
off,
finish.
man.
He
That's
is
right.
such
I
a
gotta cut
freaking
him
Yankee.
off.
There's a
I'm
gold chain
always
under
gonna
that
cut
hoodie.
you off.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, go ahead. You can speak.
So
We might as well be done
let
now.
me just
It's
finish
over.
it. Hold on. Do you think it would help the top 3 series that if to be able to be approved for a truck, Xfinity, or Cup ride, that you have to have previously won an ARCA championship, K&N championship, modified championship, something along that lines, or at least X amount of races?
So I've thought about that. So I have thought about this, but then what happens if you don't have enough guys for that?
Well, that's where does your
Yeah,
price
Ryan.
when you charge $500,000 to run the E Series, does your price go down now because not any average Joe can just come run it?
True.
Do you find a way because is racing going to go away because we don't have enough money, or is just the BS of charging these kids that will just pay to play? Does that weed them out and get us back to a place where the people who put the work in and have the talent get the opportunities?
Yeah. I mean, remember when what I was gonna say before is the national champion, weekly All-American, the Wheel All-American. Remember, he'd win a race, and he'd have a free starting spot or a position to go run in the K&N East-West Showdown, even though the driver had to fund it. Because I know a couple that actually ended up doing. I think Woody Pitcat did back when he was with Mike Olson. He went out there. I think it was Mike Olson, but similar deal. They give him a starting spot, but if there could be some financial funding, to where they were in a really good truck or a really good Xfinity car at a place of their choice where they, had something. Yeah, that's an avenue. But at the same time, where does that money come from? There's a lot of other things where you'd have to
say you
come
did
up
get
with
that
it.
and you did well. There's very few opportunities like the one you had where
Yeah.
you can go out there, win a race, and people are
Listen.
going to look at you and take a chance on you. There's not a lot of teams.
And it really wasn't, it was difficult.
Yeah.
I didn't even know if it was going to happen after when we finished second, won, ran really well at Kentucky. We tried to win the race, ended up finishing 4th. After that, I really didn't know what was going on. It was kind of like all of a sudden one day I got a phone call and it was like, hey,
I mean,
you want
I
to come
feel
do
like
these races?
20 years ago, that's what happened all the time, but now it's
look at
not.
David Gillen. He won one Xfinity race and he went right to a Cup car because it was hard to find people that were winning Xfinity races at the time, and it still is hard to find good guys that are winning Xfinity races, that especially like you, that aren't running weekly like Christopher Bell or Cole Custer, someone that comes in, can execute at a high level and do that well. But
Sports changed.
Look at
the
that
way it
shirt, though.
is.
Let's talk about modifieds again. Eric Beers.
you know Eric
His
Pierce?
son Austin races
Oh,
at
yeah, I
Mahoning,
know
right?
Austin well.
I
Yeah.
see that he races a modified.
And it's
This
blue.
is a Flemington car. He told me that these wheels were aluminum.
Oh,
They were aluminum wheels. I
Yeah,
got
they
this, I
had
got
all
this
the good
from
stuff. They had what was it? Buckshot in the Nerf bars back in the day.
yeah,
all the
Left
good
Side Nerf
stuff.
bars.
Ricky Brooks wouldn't like them.
Him. No, Eric Beers, maybe first and foremost one of the nicest guys on Model Tour, and just badass.
Oh yeah.
It's a cool shirt.
Yep.
Pennsylvania guy.
Yep. And I actually almost drove for him one time at Oswego.
Really?
Yes, I did. Almost.
In
Wish
his
I did, because
orange
that car
there?
was in the blue. No, not the
Oh,
45.
blue line.
The blue. Because I mean that race was
He
so
drove
lucrative
old blue
back in the
before
day.
you did.
He did. He drove it before me, and then it was Bobby Santos, and then it was me,
And
then
then
it
I'm
was
gonna
Matt
drive
Hirschman.
it next after.
Are you?
Yep, man.
Oh, good for you.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
So-
going there.
So you basically just called out Swanson and said you're taking his ride.
Well, he'll move on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He'll move on to the truck series.
He's a young kid trying to move up.
We're almost running out of time. Daryl's about to yell at us
Finish your notes. We've interrupted you.
the whole time. I don't even know why I came
Typical Yankees.
here today. I only have one more question for him, honestly. You're a good road course racer. I don't know how,
Yeah, I don't either.
because I don't think you did any road course racing growing up, right?
Nope.
So are you pumped to go to Sonoma for the first time this year?
I'm very pumped. I'm actually going to run a K&N car there, too.
Smart. A
Yeah.
lot of Cup guys do that.
Well, I think a lot of them are going to this year because of the new course change, right?
Oh,
No
yeah,
one has run it.
Running the whole deal.
Yeah, so
Bootleg or whatever they call it, right?
I got to figure out how I can get out there with like a production car and do some laps before I even go there,
Yep.
because I feel like that's probably a good idea.
Probably smart.
So the first time I went to Road America, I got lost.
Yeah, I was gonna say the whole track at Sonoma can't be as hard as memorizing
Road America?
Road America.
Oh, I
Place
mean,
is
I got
giant.
it in my head now, but
Ugh.
like I remember the first time out there, I went on iRacing. I was missing corners, and I'm like, man, this is gonna be trouble. Did about 20 laps. I'm like, all right, I got this. Go out there, first time out there. I'm like, what am I doing?
it's
Somebody
so
give me a
big.
track map here. Like, it took about 4 laps to really be like, okay, these are the gears I need to be in my head, you know.
I think
so
it goes through like 3 counties, so it's
Yeah.
just giant.
they got the Canadian corner, right? They're talking about all different stuff
yeah,
going
the
on there.
Corvette Bridge, and I'm like,
Yeah.
when I spot there, I'm like, I don't know what bridge I'm at, but there's a giant cheese truck here,
Yeah.
so wherever, just let me know when you go under this thing,
Yeah.
and
Gee.
I'll.
And then you got Mid Ohio, which is pretty much mostly all right-handers.
Yeah, it's
You're pretty
pretty
much just
easy.
going, you know, it's right.
I like
Yeah,
the
it's-
bridges there. I think that place is cool.
Where?
The
Yeah.
level changes in the bridges at Mid Ohio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
You go
cool.
under.
Super
Good.
cool in the rain too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you ran there in the
absolutely.
rain.
So there's definitely something about like when you set up for aero reasons, like real stiff, the whole deal, and then you don't. Like if you're in the rain, yeah.
It's
Just
gnarly.
back to a taxi cab at that point.
Oh
It's
my
not a
God, it's like you
aerodynamic
get
piece.
yeah, it varies. So
There's some fast parts there too, so I'm sure it's pretty sketchy in the rain.
Mid Ohio.
Yeah, like when you come out of the keyhole there and like you're hauling down
Is
that
that
hill
the big 180 or
Yeah.
whatever? So yeah, that was I remember
in the rain. I bet that's
the
sketchy.
spray, man. It
Yeah.
was just insane. You were just
Can't
like
see anything.
you'd see a little blink here and there, and if it got brighter, you're like, oh crap. You know, you
and
gotta
then you start
check
sliding
up.
like
yeah,
everywhere.
Did
Yep.
you run Lime Rock in the modified?
I did.
Did you win?
No, I finished third. That was my first road course race.
They used to run Watkins Glen in the modified.
That
That
would
was
be
before your
cool.
time, though, right?
Yeah, that was before
They
my
have,
time.
they have a road course at Thompson.
They did.
Yeah.
Are they ever gonna run that
I-
in the modified?
So I tested a modified there probably like 4 years ago, and man, I remember I just did lap after lap. Like it was a full day of testing, and I remember the ride home. I rode up with my with our team, and I fell asleep the entire way home because it was like physically demanding.
Very
in
demanding.
a modified, absolutely. It was lots of downshifting. Like
Well, I can't imagine those tires are so wide and so grippy. Like
oh, it's like a go
trying-
kart,
Yeah,
right?
trying to turn them through all that stuff would be
Yeah.
rough.
Thompson's done a good job with that. They built garages. I
It's
think
awesome.
they're making quite a bit more money off their road course stuff than they are just Saturday night programs.
Your
Where are we
battery's
pointing
gonna
at?
die.
I know.
Oh, man.
I was telling you, we gotta wrap it up because he's gonna start
Okay.
yelling at us. So
Man, we just had so much to talk about. We should do this again.
we
Next week,
one,
all right.
once a year we'll do it.
Next
Part-
week.
part
Once a
two.
year. How about every 6 months? Keep it. Let's close it up a little bit.
Oh, we can do that. Maybe next
do
time we'll have Busher in here. You guys can talk about being
Teammates?
Yeah,
Talk about,
the young guns.
yeah, we could do that. You know, it's, all right, we got to wrap this up.
Go
but
ahead. Go ahead.
Every
You-
time I have
might
to
as well.
remind him that I'm older than him.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, because he's 26 and I'm 28,
Yeah.
but he's been around for a long time.
He's been in the fender cars a while.
Yeah.
He's a
Yep.
good kid.
All right.
He is. He's awesome.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate it.